I'm for you once again. Today I'm going to be giving you a speech on the dangers of artificial intelligence. I want all of you to pause for a moment, and I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to imagine, if everybody can do that, imagine if you went home or to your room or to anywhere here on campus where you normally pull out your computer. You open it up, you turn it on, and then suddenly there's a voice that asks you, what would you like to do today? Can everybody imagine that? And then you continue and you tell it what is the programs it needs to open, what it needs to do. And the whole time it's just this sort of interaction where it's filling out your calendar, reminding you of important events for the day. You all get the idea, right? It's okay, you can say yes. Well, that is the essence of artificial intelligence and what the people that are researching it would like for it to do, along with other different tasks and applications which we're also going to discuss. The funny thing about the title that I gave it is not so much that there is a danger, it's rather a lack thereof. If you notice, it's in quotations. Actually, I don't think we did that right. I put the quotations in the wrong place. But that's okay. I am going to need somebody to man the PowerPoint though, or else I'll just go over there and see, this would be an example of what artificial intelligence could do. So, it's interesting that George mentioned Siri, because I would like to point out how Siri is in your phone right now, and in your pocket there is a form of artificial intelligence. Though it's not a very good one. It's supposed to be able to, take care of business for you, call somebody if you need to, but sometimes it gets a little tripped up. Just to point out how humorous this can be, I have a little video for you guys, which is on the next slide, and I think you'll all get a kick out of this.
Hey Siri, am I going funny?
No, you also look good on camera.
Hey Siri, find me the closest McDonald's.
Sure, it's on Bass Street just before the
Hey Siri, what's playing at the movies tonight?
You, please put on a shirt.
Hey Siri, call me the wolf.
Okay, from now on I'll call you that in the blues face.
Hey Siri, do you even like me?
We're sorry, Siri cannot come to the phone right now.
Hey Siri, why do you always give me a hard time?
I'm sorry.
Thanks, that's so
Siri
sweet.
cannot come to the phone right now.
Siri, what's the weather like? I want to go for a run.
Obviously, hell is for It starts at $0.
You guys get the point. Why am I showing you guys this video? It's to point something out. All throughout sci-fi, and especially the figures aforementioned by our Toastmaster this evening, there seems to be this big stigma that, oh my goodness, the machines are going to replace us. Could you guys imagine Siri replacing you? I mean, really? Who here has used Siri? Who has tried to use Siri? You should all be raising your hand if you have an iPhone. Okay. How good is Siri at doing what she's supposed to do? Okay, exactly my point. Exactly my point. That brings me to my next slide. Why artificial intelligence can't take over. Why it's not even remotely possible. Do you guys know why? The first point is programming. If any of you have ever had any experience programming, you should understand this completely, and if you don't, then I'll put it into simple terms. I want you to imagine a younger sibling or a relative, and you told them, when you get this piece of garbage, you're supposed to throw it away. I want you to imagine a funny scenario where they went and they threw that away, and then they just started looking around the room for other random pieces of garbage to do the same thing. The point is, the task is repeated. That is how programming is done. It's line by line, it's read in that order, and when it reaches the end, the only thing left to do is for it to start over. So this idea of making a program that can usurp this list is not possible. It's only possible if it can actually write its own code. So since we're not to that point, we're really in no danger there. Emotions are a funny one because they're actually robotics platforms that have been able to mimic or portray so-called emotions. For instance, right there on the screen you see a picture of this robot by MIT which is called Nexi. Nexi can emulate just about every emotion that a human being can do, given the fact that it has eyebrows and a jaw which can hinge and pivot. That aside, though, Nexi can only do whatever the programmers told Nexi to do. It's a cause and effect relationship. It's nothing to be alarmed at. Unfortunately, I didn't put any videos of Nexi, but on the other hand, those videos have been quite long. So since we're already almost out of time, that would be pointless. The third point is creativity. Since the robot cannot write its own code, and since it cannot usurp that list of tasks that have been given to it already by a human programmer, it's impossible for creativity in its purest form to exist. Human beings write music, we paint, when we get mad, this influences how that output is changed. You've always heard of how there's very many moods in art, I'm sure. This type of painting implies this type of music implies this. Because a machine is not capable of having these emotions, these biological reactions which essentially give way to those emotions as we interpret them, it's not possible for it to have creativity either, because emotion actually is very closely linked to creativity. Next slide. So the benefits and then the real danger. The benefits, of course, are pretty much endless, but we can summarize them into a handful. Research can be expedited. Much in the same way I have Steve right now operating the PowerPoint for me, I could have had a program on the computer to do that very thing. To have a program where it recognizes a visual or an audio cue and it triggers the program to go to the next slide. Brainstorming some solutions. So, you have all this knowledge, but you have the intellect. The machine can possess all the knowledge, including what you forgot. So imagine if you could bounce ideas back and forth with your computer, much in the same way that we use Google. When you want to figure out something's done, what do you do? Oh, let me Google that. Let me go there. Let me read up on this. Find out about that. Versus actually asking somebody, which is what we used to do in the old days. AI is really just the next evolution of this. And some of the negatives, as you all well know, we become very dependent on our electronic devices, on our communication devices, social media, etc. Having such devices, we could potentially become even more dependent on electronics and become less apt to have face-to-face interaction, which really places a very high value on this sort of flow. And finally, destructive uses, because ultimately it's whatever the machine is programmed to do. Any machine that's programmed to make something or build something can also be used to tear it down. Case in point, a milling machine. Do any of you know what that is? Negative? A milling machine is a machine that has different types of drill bits put on it, and it sculpts or cuts pieces of metal into a form predetermined by its user. That same machine can be very dangerous if something fouls up. If a drill bit gets broken in half and goes flying across the room. But once again, it all depends on the user. So with that being said, go to the next slide. I have another video clip, and this one is more along the lines of the good that could come about with these applications of AI. So I'll wait.
Shall we start machining the parts? That's a bunch of ones and zeros.
Just like you want. This is an example of how AI can be applied to manufacturing. So, to conclude everything, there's really nothing to be alarmed at. Machines only do what they're told, what they're programmed to do. The only way that changes is if somebody else comes along and reprograms it. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.